Just a quick whatever history about myself. I'm kind of a new producer still, but I was in a position where I was doing vocals, and I would go to the studio with a bunch of guys, and I'd see them, the guy in the chair, and I'd see them doing all these things, and I would just kind of be in the corner waiting for them to tell me it was my turn to do my vocals, and then I would leave, and I was just like, man, like, that's not fair. I want to know what's going on. I want to be involved in the conversations. So I loved DJ Mako. He was like my favorite DJ, favorite producer, so I just took a chance, hit him up on Facebook and was like, hey, do you think you feel like showing me how to like produce? And he said, yeah, so here we are. So I won't go into the long story of that. So he showed me, I didn't even have this thing yet. So if you don't have if you don't have controllers and keyboards and synths and all that, you can start off with this thing. That's what I did, and it was $150. I think with inflation, it might be $175 now. But like 5 years ago, it's called Innovation Launch Key Mini. So that's what we have here on our worksheet. So the important part of the track is the drum. So that's where we're going to start. So if you have Logic, so I said you were new. Do you have a DAW at home?
Yeah,
you've got Logic? Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Logic people? Okay, perfect. So what you're going to want to do, because this is a software instrument, you're going to, let me cancel this to show you how to get there. So you're going to go up to, sorry, what's that? You're going to go up to File, and you're going to go to New, and you're going to do software instrument, because that's what we're using. We're using all of the instruments that are already built into the DAW because we don't have money, right? So we're going to go to Create.
Not lying.
We're going to open. All right, so the Roland 808 or the 909 is my favorite. Those are what I typically use. So if you want to find that, you're just going to type it in. You're going to type in, you don't even have to type in Roland actually. You can just type in 808. You're going to scroll down. Okay, so this is not my personal DAW, so it's not set up, but I do have a plan for that. So we're going to go here. Just in case that happened, I had it set up already. So what you're going to do is go to that 808. All right, just for, here we go. Here it is, guys. Sorry about that. So here's the Roland TR 808, right? Perfect. So everybody got their sheet?
Yeah.
So this is going to be your snare. This is going to be your kick. Feel free to write it down, the people that don't have all the stuff, because it's going to make your life a lot easier. So the top, first square at the top, that's going to be your snare. The one underneath that, that's going to be your kick drum. Isn't that nice? And then you're going to have your tom, that's at the top, next to the snare. Down below that, that's your rim. Then we're going to go next to that, back up to the top. So just to be sure, that's your third, we're on the third one at the top now. So the third one at the top, that's going to be your closed high. But no, below that is your snare. Back up to the top, the tom. Down at the bottom, we got our clap. Go back up, got another tom. Down below, we've got another hi-hat. Open. Then we're going to go back up. We have our ride. Another tom. This key down on the end, second to last, doesn't have anything with the DAW, but that's okay. Below it, we have an open high. We've got another ride cymbal for the top last, and then we've got a cowbell for the bottom last. All right. So we need to go to a new project, so I can show you guys how to build from scratch. Let's just say, for instance, we're going to use this for our bass line. Sounds crazy, but whatever. So that's a lot. All right, so our I'm going to go to the beginning. All right, so you're going to hit record. But before you hit record, look and see the BPM. So the BPM right now is at 120, but I can change that if I want to later on in the project. You might as well go ahead and keep it at 120 if you're new, because you're going to be slow. I'm still slow. So yeah, you're going to be slow, so you can go ahead and change things if you want. My way is just starting out slow and hitting record. All right, so that's our pounding bass. So we're gonna go to track, right? So that's our first track. You wanna have about 9 to 10 tracks to make a song. We're gonna go to new software instrument track. So that's gonna be track number 2, right? So we're gonna go back, then we're still building the drums. So we're gonna go back to that 808. All right, so the next part, so you would have your snare. So that's going to be track number 2. So you would go track, right? New software instrument track. So just for the sake of saving time, I already built one in last night. So I'm going to solo it, and this is our snare. So the kick and the snare are now, we can play those together. No gear, nothing. All you have is this. All right, so what am I going to do next for the third track?
Hi-hat?
No, like where am I going to go? Am I going to go to...
Oh, new software instrument?
Yep, new software instrument, exactly. So do that again. So our new software instrument now is our hi-hat, which is this sound here. All right, so I'm going to put the other pieces that we just did as well. So we're already cooking with 150. So then we're gonna go ahead and put a clap in. So that would be our new software instrument. So I'm gonna play you guys the clap, which is the fourth pad down. So we're gonna add our clap. And here we go. All right, so on and so forth. So then we're gonna add a shaker. And I'll play that shaker by itself. I used something called Cynthia. Cynthia is in the DAW, you don't have to pay for it. It's right there. We're gonna add all those components together. So then we have our bass line. Once you put all of your drums together, that's the way that I was taught, you're gonna do the bass line. I mean, of course, when you get more advanced, you can do whatever you wanna do. But I feel for me, it helps a lot when I start with the drums and then I go ahead and do the bass line. So this is gonna be our bass line, which we don't have time today. But I brought this little synth just to show you guys because this enhanced all of my bass lines. This was only around $200 and you can pay for it in installments of $33 a month if you're just having a hard time right now. So this is a Roland J6. So I'll try to squeeze in what she does to the bass line if I can. So I'm going to play you guys the bass line really quickly. One really cool thing about Logic is that if you want to change up the bass line a little bit, you can just by going here and clicking on the instrument itself, okay, that you used in the DAW. Oh, so they don't, okay, perfect, they do have it. All right, so you're going to go over here. See how it says Classic Style 01? You can pick some other variations of that bass line. So there's one called Bouncing Funk, which is kind of cool, so let's try that one. And now let's go ahead and play it. See how it kind of changed it up a little bit? Isn't that nice? And let's try another one. Let's try Classic Groove 2, maybe. Okay, I don't like that, but yeah, just to give you an idea, you know what I mean? There's a lot of I think there's, I don't know, over 100 of different variations that you can choose in Logic. So that's another free thing that's already in our DAW that we don't have to worry about. So let's play all of those parts that we did and see what we got. Also, too, the best way to find out if the track is going to be okay is if you see this hand up here where I'm looping, you can take it off. But if all of your parts are sounding cool on a loop, they're most likely going to turn out okay in your arrangement. So let's hear that. Next part of a track is you don't have to have strings. You don't have to. But in Detroit, we like them. So that's another part of your track. You're gonna have your bass line, you're gonna have your drums, so then you're gonna have your strings. So this is one of my favorite, also free, comes in the DAW. It's called Dark Percussion Layers. I used this sound when I made On Joy Road. One of my favorite tracks. It's out with Tresor. That was my first EP with them. So we'll see what it sounds like when we throw those in. So it gave it a different feel, but it's kind of like relaxing or something like that. So we're gonna go down, and this is just a sound that I love. It's called the Zap, but it's unfortunately not in the DAW, but another producer sent it to me, so I just throw it in there. So I'll just play it soloed out for you. Now we're going to go ahead and play everything. So now for your arrangement, what you're gonna do, I had another bass line here. Let's see how it sounds. I'm probably gonna just end up deleting it. Yeah, it's in the arranged version. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and quickly arrange, and then I'll play you the arranged version after. So once you've got this little stack and it sounds good on a loop, you can go ahead and take the loop off, okay? And then unmute and unsolo everything, because that's, all right, perfect. So we're gonna go here and kind of highlight each piece just like that. Make sure every piece is highlighted. See that? And then you're gonna go to edit, and you're gonna go to repeat, and you're gonna go to multiple because we need multiple. So I like to start with maybe 30. That's gonna be a quick track, but we don't have a lot of time, so that's perfect. So we put in 30, and bam, there we go. It's time to arrange. So one thing I forgot to tell you guys is you want to set this to bar. You're going to have the snap up here that's going to say Smart Bar Beat Division. Put it on bar. And see that arrow right here? You're going to have a mute tool, right? So go ahead and put it on mute. And we're going to mute the parts that we do not want to come in during the beginning. So say for instance, we're going to start muting I'm going to mute everything except for our kick and our strings. Just let's see how that sounds. You're never going to get exactly what you want like the first time. You got to kind of play around with it. So let's see what we got. If we're just muting, we're only going to come in with our kick and our strings. That's going to be the build-up because our intro is going to be about 16 bars. You don't have to do that, but that's like typical song structure. But you can do whatever you want. So, not written in stone. Okay, so did you guys see what I just did? I brought in those hats. Also too, I keep forgetting stuff, I'm so sorry. So you're gonna wanna label these pieces that you put together. You can go in, see when you click on this, I wrote in the kick. It's just gonna come out looking like this first. It's just gonna come out and say Roland 808. But when you're arranging, it's gonna get messy. Things, I don't know, I'm kind of neurodivergent, so I need things labeled. So you can go in here and put in kick, so you know that that's your kick. So all of these things are labeled. All right, so I brought in those hi-hats because it's like a gradual build-up type of ordeal. So let's see. And we're gonna bring in the snare. So do we see how we're just muting things and then bringing things in as we go? So I'm gonna pull up the full arranged version because I'm sure that's a lot easier. I have it here in the hard drive. It's going to pull up for me.
I think you just write your phone in on the plug-in.
30-minute?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Or you might be in Finder full screen.
That is so...
You go to the bottom to application. At the bottom of the screen.
Oh. Applications.
No, you don't have to right click. It's just like taking the cursor down to the bottom. Like the Apple applications will open.
Let's see.
If you hover over it. The same way the top just opened up for you, or you can close Finder and then.
Yeah.
And then open, oh, there we go. It's just asking you to save that last one.
Okay. Jeez. All right, here it is, guys. Sorry. All right, so this is the full thing. And so we'll see. Right at around 16-ish, you want to bring in the bass line. But, like I said, you don't have to. It's just like typical song structure. So we're going to go down a little further because we're going to have an 8-bar, I guess you would call it breakdown. I know everybody has their own different terminologies. So we muted, when we do our breakdown, you're typically gonna feature your bass line, your strings, and the kick if you want. But do you see that right here, how everything is muted out? We only kept those elements here, bass line, kick drum, and strings. And the little background sound. So there we go, 8 bars. basically by 16. Every 16, we need to do something else because the listener gets bored. And we need to worry about bringing things in and taking things out so that there's subtle changes for the listener. So they're not just, because this is already kind of repetitive music, so you gotta kind of be careful that it's not too redundant. So I know we're running out of time. They just came in, so we're gonna go down. So here is where I took out the kick and only we're gonna worry about the strings and the bass line at 61. You want to break down the ending and go all the way. So that it's just a gradual exit. I'll start here at 109 or 105 so we can see how the kick just drops out. It's so convenient because when you're arranging, I arranged this yesterday, but I'm like, okay, I don't want that there anymore. So all you have to do, just mute it. It's gone. And you want to make sure and constantly go up here and save as you're working. Save as you're working. Save. Because yeah, I've had some real heartbreaks. I won't go into detail, but I'm still recovering from not doing that. So yeah, so everything is fading out. You're gonna take out. I finally took out that bass line because I wanted to just focus on the little clicks and beeps. Those are my favorite. And there's our track. So you would be surprised, especially you, how easy it is. I know you think it's not, but it is. So just keep trying it, keep working with it. You'll learn new things. Like you'll become in tune with the DAW. Like the more you sit with it and stuff, like you'll just start figuring things out. Yeah.
So when you went into what you're calling like your arrangement, you bounced all of the midis in place, so you're just using them as audio files except for
yes.
layers?
So that was only, typically I don't do that. I only did that, like bouncing them into MIDI files, because I built that little stuff and then I'm like, okay, let me bounce them and then hurry up and arrange to save time for the class. But you don't have to do that.
I'm just curious, like, if there's, like, what is the advantage? I always have a hard time deciding if I want to do that or not. I think a lot of Ableton users seem to, like, do that.
Yeah, so when you're sending your stems out to other people, yes, you have to, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But I did it to myself just to save time. Just to not have to sit there and copy and paste into another project the stuff that I had just done.
Okay.
All you have to do is what I showed you, is highlight everything, edit, repeat, 30, 40, 50, whatever, how long.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would say 30 to 35 is a good starting point for the edit and repeat. Okay, yeah, this is question time. What else was it? I know, I'm like, I feel bad, I just keep talking.
So you spoke of Zap, and
yes.
You mentioned that someone gave it to you instead
yes.
of like synthesizing it yourself, or
so,
sequencing it yourself. What do you do to edit samples and not doing what you do receive them from someone else and make them your own?
Oh, so yeah, there's so many different ways. So one is, you have this, it's the J6, or, let's see, you can click on,
Did you say the Zap, it was a sample or was it a BST? Like,
No, it
it's a
was
sample.
somebody, I did a remix for somebody and they sent me their stems of that Zap sound. And then they just told me, I was like, oh my God, I love this, but I don't have an 808. And they were like, just keep it and do what you want with it.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's actually just somebody's 808 stem that they sent me. But yeah, you can definitely still make it your own if you want to.
Yeah. Is there something specific that you do like in your process?
No, I left the Zap exactly the way it was, honey.
Yeah,
I didn't change it. Yeah. So I mean, I did get permission from him, so it's not
amazing.
like,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, you do want to ask because people are even though an 808 is a universal drum machine and anybody can buy it, people will still be like, oh, that's my 808 that she's using. So since we were friends, you know what I mean, it was different. But you do, like, if someone sends you stems and you want to keep a stem and use it, just ask. I mean, that's the best way to go about that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I forgot?
Do you put any, like, do you put any effects or anything, like, on the channels, or you try to, like, keep working with just the sound that you...
Yeah, I try to do as less as possible. Keeping everything clean. The most I would do is that little trick that I showed you guys of clicking on the instrument and using these functions here, and especially these over here. Because look at all that. I don't know exactly how many, but this is all the options that you have to change the sound. And then they give you a transform pad as well. Then you can also go into the mixer and you can add whatever you want here. You're gonna go see where it says alchemy. So you're gonna click on that down. I mean, whatever you wanna do. Here's your delay, here's your modulation, here's your pitch, here's your specialized utility. But for this sound, I don't do anything to it. I just leave it the way it is. It's just all up to the person.
I had another question there.
Yeah. Of course.
So I see you took notes for this presentation.
Yes.
Do you, and you have very clean notes in writing.
Really?
I would say.
Like, please don't look at my right.
Don't look at mine right now. Do you ever plan tracks ahead of time with like, you get inspired outside of like your workspace, and how do you document that in that period that you are inspired and then bring that back?
It's hard. Yeah, I try to just write it down in my phone or write it down in notes. But yeah, most of the time too, I do a reference track. I don't know, I've heard that that's bad. Like if you're a real producer, you don't need reference, but I love reference tracks. I always use DJ Mako and Scan 7 for my reference tracks. Or if I honestly need help, that's the thing about me, I'm not afraid to ask. People are always like, dang, how did you get so much accomplished? I'm like, I ask for help. Like, it's not, like, a lot of these people think I'm, I don't know, some kind of extra special. I'm not. I'm not afraid to ask for help. And the guys in this industry that are older, they want to help us. They're like, oh, they feel honored. And they're like, I want to help you. So just reach out to these people and ask.
Amazing.
They will definitely help you because they helped me.
The J6, do you record it into Logic as a software?
Okay, so yeah, I think we do have time. All right, so you can use it. So we're gonna just use it as a controller today because we don't have time. So like I said, this one is available for $33 a month if you're having a rough time right now. Oh, but he did tell me that I've taken up all the plugs here, so I can't plug it in. But we'll just say for instance, so this is going to, if you're going to use it as a synth, right? You're going to put it in here to your Volt, input 1 and 2, ready to roll. But if you're going to use it as a controller, serving the same functions as this, you're just going to plug it in via USB. So let's just pretend we have a USB or whatever. So we're going to plug it in. So let's just say, for instance, let me show you guys without it being on. I actually enhanced this bass line with it right here. So this was just an acid house bass is just a basic instrument that comes in Logic. Let me see if I can show you how it sounds without this being added to it. Yeah, see, it's not pulling up. So basically, how I can describe it is that it's going to take a really weak and basic bass line and it's going to fatten it up because it has this function on it where you can push chord. So if you get one of these, you're going to notice that right away. When you press chord, it's going to take the bass line or whatever instrument that's already in the DAW, and it's going to enhance it and it's going to stack it. So it's going to sound amazing. So at first, I was only working with this, and this came later. But this made my life a lot simpler and a lot easier. It's just, I'm so sorry that we can't plug it in because I have so much stuff up here right now.
So when you use this, are you using it like you're recording a new audio track on top that has these effects, or?
Yeah, you're still gonna say software instrument when you're using it as a controller.
Yeah.
But when you have it plugged into the Volt, it's gonna be a audio track. But when you have it plugged in via USB, then you're gonna use it as a software instrument.
I see.
So yep, it still does what this does, but you also got so many different, they're called styles and variations. So there's literally like almost 15 to 20 different variations of that bass line. If you wanna, because I know it looks so small, but all of the octaves are there. All you have to do is push shift and either up or down, and that's gonna change the octave. So I know it looks like it doesn't have a lot of keys, but the octaves are there. It's got a filter, it's got a delay, it's got reverb. I would say I'm kind of moving away from this now because I love this so much. But I mean, we did have like 4 years together of being broke and just trying to do what we could do. But yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is like arranging, let's say for like song making, like you're just putting it out. When you are arranging for, let's say, pressing it on wax,
Right.
It's going to be different than when you want it mixed, right? Digital.
So yeah, your mix for wax will be different than your mix for digital, but the arrangement, no.
Yeah, okay. And then I was getting to that. So I do most of my stuff live, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
then, yeah, I just wanted to get into like length, like.
How long should it be?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for double digits. Like the moment we hit 10 minutes, it's done. It's perfect. It's nice.
Yeah.
But it's because I do that live.
Right,
And
right.
so my arranging and song making process is different when I can, have the 16 pattern to
Yeah,
set it,
following
and
that
then,
16.
And then being able to have like your 10 tracks like you did, but then. Do you understand my question?
Yeah. So you basically kind of want to know, should you change the length and change the arrangement for putting it out on wax, right?
Yeah. It's going to be the same track. It's going to be the same sounds.
I would say listeners get kind of bored. You got to think about your audience. I try to keep it around 5 minutes-ish.
Okay.
because of the nature of the listener. They're not going to want it to be that long, you know.
Okay, but for digital, then you would say it's something like 3? Or it's
3 to
still keep it
5.
Like, yeah, 3
Yeah,
to 5.
3 to 5.
Okay.
Even 7.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, like 5 to 7, it's not bad. But
Right.
then in that case, then the arrangement completely does change because it's extended.
Exactly.
You still got the same sounds, and it's more like a live sounding 7-minute than the 3-minute, you know, on Spotify or Apple.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I going full for thinking about it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
no,
you
I totally
practice
get it.
that? Do you practice whatever you're going to like perform as a live track? Or-
What do you mean, like preparing a track live to then perform it live?
Yeah,
I'm
sort
sorry,
of.
I've been getting into lately,
Okay.
but I do all of my stuff live.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
I like it, but it's
So cool.
different, and this is pretty helpful.
Yeah,
thank
it's really really simple, and once you do it a few times, you'll just get better and better, and more comfortable every time. Why is D Diggs in here? I just chanced a bit. I've been playing Toss It, the remix all weekend. She has some wonderful work going on right now too. So yeah, what else do you guys want to know? I think we have like 10 minutes.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Once you get your track done and it's banging, how do you get it out of there to play it out?
Oh, bounce, right? Oh, let's see if I remember that. Okay, so yeah, you like if you want to bounce the file out, meaning like make it a song, so you can like send it to your friend or your car, play it in your car, whatever. So you're gonna go up here to file, and it's right here. So it says bounce, right? And you're going to hit project or selection because this is your project. And yep, you want to wave file. And you're going to see the start, the ending 129. Yep. You're just going to hit OK. And see how it says project Carhartt arranged. Go ahead and hit bounce. And you'll see it doing its thing. So after the track is bounced, you should go to your music folder and it should be in there as an MP3 or wave or whatever you did to it.
When you're sending stems to other people to work on, do you prefer to bounce with like mobilize on or off?
Off. I was told to leave it off, but yeah. Or there's an option to
Like overload
protection. Yeah, you can do overload protection only or just off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do any extra work with like mastering on a different DAW?
No, I do not master, and I'm
Okay.
perfectly honest about that because it's just not my territory. So, yeah, I just want to stay in my lane. So yeah, at this time I do not master. I send it to people who have been doing that for like 30 years because they do a better job. And yeah, when I do learn, then we'll talk about it. But for now, no. Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. Even for the mix, I'm still very shaky about mixing. So I go to like my older homeboys for a mix. And then it's like, once you've sat here and you've worked on this track for a week or more and you've heard it so many times, it's kind of like, do I really have to mix this now? Like, and then you're hearing something different every day, every time you play it. So kudos to those people that mix and master because, yeah, it's very difficult. What you can do though is what I started doing. You can kind of level things out over here and kind of just get a feel for how all of that is. Just manually leveling things out with the volume will kind of start getting yourself prepared and getting you there. Because you don't want, let's say, the shaker super loud. That's like a background. You know what I mean? You don't want that overpowering the track. Or just like the zap. That's more of a background sound. You don't want it super, super loud. So just doing it manually and working with your own volume in the beginning can definitely help, like, start getting you prepared for the mixing journey. But like I said, this is a beginner's class. So, Howard, yeah, go ahead. No, you're good.
Do you use automations, and do you consider automations to be more on like the production side or the mixing side? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say, because if you're a producer, you're technically supposed to mix, but I know that all producers don't mix.
Yeah.
So I know some really good producers that don't mix. So I would say it's a producer thing, but just depending on the producer, because every producer is different. You know what I'm saying?
So have you ever?
But I don't use it.
You don't use automations?
No. I'm very, very basic, clean, and simple. I try to keep things as minimal as possible. I try to keep it at 9 to 13 tracks because that's cheaper for me. When the more tracks you have, the more they're going to charge you to mix it. And I know it looks like I have money, but I don't. So I try to just keep everything economical, clean, and simple. And if you're really passionate about this and you've got an interesting story behind the work, you're going to get where you need to go. You don't have to worry about having all that and all the, it's not about that.
Less is more.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes less is more, and that's a quote that Scan 7 taught me. Because I would send him, I guess, very busy tracks, because I thought I had to compare and do so much, and he would just be like, "Ma'am, less is more." Especially for the dance floor, less is more. So they would tell me, this is a quote that they told me as well, that your kick, your snare, your bass line, and your vocals is like your meat. Those are the most important things of the track. Don't worry about all that other stuff. So that's a key thing in Detroit, is the kick, snare, bass line, and the vocals. Yes.
Hi, so in terms of your production, I like it in terms of you like raw, like this is what I'm doing and that's how it is and I'm putting it out. So in terms of like your first releases, did you just release yourself or did you try and find a home for that?
I did. So you can self-release. I know it's scary. I did it. I was working with a guy and we were calling ourselves HLX1. And we just started releasing things on our own. We made our own Bandcamp page. The artwork was horrible. It was just a mess. But I mean, it was like, it was how we got ourselves going. And then once you kind of get yourself comfortable in self-releasing, you can start pitching yourself to labels. And even if you don't find a label, who cares? I know some poppin' people who are booked fully and they don't mess with any labels. So if your music is good and you have support, you'll be fine. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Do you write? What's the word? Do you know music theory or like?
A little bit, yeah. I grew up playing the violin, so I kind of knew some stuff a little bit already, but it wasn't like electronic. I was one of those people who could barely like check email and respond. Like I was bad. So I'm thinking like if I have managed to get all this done, like you guys can too. It's really, yeah, seriously. Like I'm really, really bad. I would come into the studio and people would just be like, "Oh man, here she comes." Here she comes. And I'm like, "Hey." I'm like, "Can you give me the boonch, boonch?" I didn't even know that it was called like kick and snare. I was horrible. So, I mean, yeah. It's definitely possible for you if it's possible for me. Do you feel a little more comfortable now?
No, absolutely. I'm actually realizing I'm overthinking and doing all the things. And the people that I learn from or like look for reference tracks, I feel like I have to know how to write music. I have to
No, girl. No.
know all the things before.
No, not at all.
It's very
Things that sound good to you and provide energy and emotion for you are probably okay. Miss Diggs?
Do you use any sort of like universal, like how do you keep everything in time? Like in Logic? Like are you just using the metronome?
So,
Recording in time? Do you have some sort of like...
it's weird.
Yeah.
The metronome bothers me. So I don't like just those the intro, I guess, I don't know. And like I said, the violin thing probably.
Yeah.
Because I learned with Suzuki, and you don't get to look at music. You have to learn by listening to someone, and all these little kids are just playing their violin. So yeah, I just grew up like not using it. But yeah, you can use the metronome, or you can just kind of just get in that little, groove zone. And then, like I said, you can start off slow, and then you can change that BPM. Yeah, starting off slow helps a lot, like 120-ish, and then you can crank it up later.
How much of what you do is in the box versus, I know you just
Oh,
said
so much.
it's not about the gear and
So
whatnot,
much.
but
So I have my first EP with Tresor. That was gear and box, but it was done with an engineer at a studio. And then in the process of making that EP, I was learning all of this, and I made the track On Joy Road with just in the box at home. So yeah, that EP is like a mixture of both. And then I started working with a Chord mini log. So it's like over time,
building a collection.
yeah, I started like building a collection, but the first things were definitely in the box. Techno Freak, there's a track I have, that's all in the box too. And the manly voice that you hear is my voice, but it's just pitched down. So yeah, you can do everything yourself. Like, I didn't have a man at my house at the time. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just do it myself and pitch it down. You know what I mean? So you can basically just DIY everything
Yeah.
and get it done that way.
I have a question.
Yes, of course.
Have you played with the other line of the IDA, like the TA, DS1, and the...
Oh, the other ones of this?
94? Yeah.
No, I have this J6. I've got another piece of gear from them that I don't even use it. But I love this one because of the simplicity. Like, it's so user-friendly.
Yeah.
So for a person like me, coming from barely being able to check email, like this is a lifesaver. Both of these. Yeah. So I would say my DAW and these two are probably, let's say, $150. So I would probably say about $350. I would say for just to get going there. And if you don't even have, I forgot to show you guys this, you can push Command and K, and here's a built-in keyboard right here. And you can change the octaves or whatever. So if you're really just struggling at the moment, and you know what I mean, you can just use this keyboard that the DAW already came with for free. I think I made like a little intro or something, and this was all I had at the time. But it worked. So I think we're good. If there's not any more questions, I think we're good to go, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that helps a little.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
So, Sean, is it taking a baseline from the audio file?
Even easier.
Yeah.
It's so easy. So, I know. So you're gonna just go to, see, this is like there. Let's just say we were using deep techno chords. And this was plugged in. You're just gonna play it on here. Yeah. It's gonna be plugged in via USB, deep techno chords. So it's gonna sound one way, because this is the regular way. But on here it's gonna sound like that.
I wanna get my
And
hands on
then
that
there's all these variations of that too.
It's like the nuclear code.
Yeah.
So then when you record it and it's plugged in as a controller, what you're recording is actually this audio and not turn it into video. Okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
have like an issue. I have like a couple of chord, like polka beats. And it's audio only.
Yes.
And so then I like. Yeah. Anyway.
That's why this is perfect for people like us.
They need a check. They need a table, right?
Do it. Get it. It's 31. Hit me up and tell me how you like it.
Okay, thank you.
You play with the locust?
I'm running around with the work.
I do. Yeah.
Oh no, you're welcome.
It's so great to meet you finally.
It was good to meet you too. I had a good time.
Good. Yeah. If you need anything, I'll be right up.
Okay, awesome. Oh, of course. Yeah.
This is great.
Right there is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
In the sink out, then
Dead beat. Dead beat. All over in the UK somewhere.
Excuse me, I'm gonna get a photo.
Oh, my fault, man. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about it. I know y'all on official business. Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, come on standing and we'll do a single. So once you buy it, you need to take one small step back.
That's so great. I just don't like the sound that with my beat machine. I like the sound, but only very
Let's say you press play and they're like, give a show.
Yeah.
They're
So cool. Yeah, I might just buy it.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Maybe some battery.
Hold on, man. I want to get in this too.
But they don't gotta build this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not necessary.
Right, the shade.
Oh yeah.
You want me to sit down?
Man, you know, I try to go over there. Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Not be a stranger.
Oh wow. Yeah, I've never been in here before. It's crazy.
Welcome.
Oh,
And
thank
yeah,
you.
it's always crazy like this.
Okay.
Normally we do the workshops in a large room, but seriously, don't be a stranger.
I won't.
Okay.
All right.
I got a witness.
I wanted to ask you,
Yeah, of course.
would you be anytime free in next semester or next year to come back to the essay, to the workshop for the kids that we have?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I love that little thing.
With the J6, I teach the T8 and the S1.
Okay. Yeah.
We haven't gotten into the E4,
Okay.
but we do have the J6 too.
I love
I
it.
haven't gotten much into it, but it's really nice.
It's such an easy, thing. Of course, I love to.
Okay, we can hell yeah. Yeah, but you also like for you and stuff, it's obvious.
No worries.
Yeah, it's rolling, UMA, and DSA.
That was like so interesting, like the arranging, that's how I call it, arranging. It's not composition, it's arranging.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. That was just so cool. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you.
Let's hear it.
You want to erase that file and then inside of the computer?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Hey, you say, man, we ain't gonna do you dirty like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is.
That's the one we got.
Hi.
You're going back in.
But I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, I'm glad. I wanted you guys to get some little tips. You can. You can.
Oh, JJ. Oh, my bad. Alright, I'm going.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go back to the corner.
Okay, was that okay?
Yeah, you did good.
I felt like I was like, oh.
You did good.
I was like, okay.
And plus, when you teaching, you learn too.
Mm-hmm.
It just strengthens you.
Message.
Yep.
How feel about it? I work with Tresor.
Oh, I love that mixer. Who's that for? That's my favorite mixer.
Alright, I'm going.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll see you back here, right? At November time.
I'll be back at 4. I just gotta go grab more records.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you. Bye, honey.
You playing?
Thank you.
But
Okay,
Go
so
back to your
yeah,
workshop.
you
Oh,
live in
for
Berlin?
sure.
Yeah, I do the social media, so I give like, yeah.
Oh my God! You live in Berlin?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's funny that I've been like a fan of your music forever before I even moved out
But
there.
how do you live there? Like, how do you survive? Like, what do you?
It's interesting, to say the least.
Oh my God.
But I'm not here for like a month. I take a little break.
I know you do.
For a minute.
Oh my God. So do you only work at Tresor? Or like,
Yeah, well, I do freelance, so I'm like there, but I'm probably going full time with them. But I've been there for like the last 2 years. But they have probably.
table over here, right?
okay, yeah, let's do that. Sure.
You're fine,
Let me
don't
grab
worry.
it.
We have time. I don't worry. Acting like it's a quick change. We're not like taking you out.
Okay, no worries. What part do you live in?
I'm in Charlottenburg, so all the way in the west. With the old people. Old
Okay.
people and like rich shit.
And how do you speak?
Learning. Mein Deutsch ist
All I know is
Schweizer.
yeah, I know Entschuldigung. Like, excuse me.
It's about me, mit Konzert, bitte.
You see, you're better.
Work in progress.
Yeah.
This is my first time at the Underground Music Academy.
Welcome. Watch you.
Pleased to meet you. I've actually worked with you before. I'm Brendan. I used to be bigger. I'm in Ectomorph.
What do you mean bigger?
Physically twice the size that I am right now.
Oh my God! Yeah, I think I remember that. I'm Anne Marie.
Congratulations.
Hey.
You know, I know your music, but I don't think I've ever
But
actually met you face
I
to
remember
face.
what you used to look
Yeah,
like.
it
You
was
look really
I
good.
was like Fat Jim Morrison. You know?
Oh my God! How did you like? What did you do?
Change the diet. Change the
This
diet.
is so great.
Congratulations.
Got conscious about how we live and eat.
So maybe the next workshop.
I work out, all that shit, but that's not how you lose the weight.
That's so
That's how
dope.
you keep your heart
Just put it down fast.
So okay, yeah, and then we did something together. I did this funkadelic rework by the Traders.
Oh, okay, yeah. I forgot what tune I got.
Yeah, I do too, but it's only like it's a double or triple.
And it was good. And the tune was bigger than me. I remember listening to
Well,
it.
it's like, come on, it's like a bunch of
Let's
Jameses.
do. Okay, I'm gonna let's do.
You can't outdo it. You can just do something. I mean, I chose this maggot ring. That's
You look great.
insane.
Have fun.
Shit.
You know, it's like I couldn't improve. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm having by the way.
If you forgot anything,
Are you from here? Yeah.
I know. I'm just like, okay.
So where do we have us going? Are we doing this Halo desk or we're doing this table right here? Okay. All right.
Hi, Erica. Yeah, hi, I'm Em. It's nice to meet you.
everybody else will be able to figure it out. So,
Yeah, so which way do you want us to be angled?
ideally this way.
Like facing people here?
Yeah, facing people this way, yeah. And you guys will be speaking with the mic, that way it just projects better in the room.
Okay.
And people can hear it better at home.
Okay.
Do I get to keep those?
Yeah, that's for you.
Thank you. This is
And you need, what do you need?
Just 2 power supplies. One for this, for Erica's sequencer, and then one for this thing. Or actually 3 with the mixer.
That's a freshman for me to tune in when you were doing this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they said it was dope.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God, I felt so weird.
We was actually like figured out for Berlin. It was kind of like Berlin, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the time difference.
Actually, yes, actually.
So do you need a roommate? Do you need a roommate in Berlin?
Like 1 room.
Oh,
No, actually, no, it's
I'm
funny.
like, I'll move there.
I actually wanted a 2, like a 3 room, so I could actually rent it out to people.
Well, when you get a bigger apartment, let me know. So I'm trying to get the hell out of here.
No, I mean, my girlfriend
She's
might be
ready
wanting
to
to
go.
rent the place.
Yeah.
Her place.
Yeah, let me know. Tell me I'm
Good to
cool.
know. Good to know.
I'm never home.
What's the best color?
Yeah. Oh, hi. I like your hair.
Oh, thanks.
How are you? Good. Good.
Is it enough for all this
Yes, we had a do not want to live there.
We'll find out. We gotta
Our
put
winter
her
is just as
things
bad.
together.
I mean,
It's bad,
I
but
think
I
your
mean,
guys' is
it's the,
worse.
no, it's the vibe. I live in and I mean,
Oh, you
that was rough.
You get to live in all the nice
I was there for
places.
7. I mean, I lost my mind living in this place.
Okay, what's your real Instagram? I'm about to follow you.
Yeah, no, it's about winter. It's like most of the attitudes of it's like nasty.
Yeah. So we gotta get the power
This
supply.
is
So you
fun.
It's no vibe, but some of it is.
You can put your.
Yeah, definitely. That's funny, like when I first started, Tresor, when your theme was coming out.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah, and it was funny because I was and it was funny.
Well, I was new,
It
yeah.
was coming out then. But I was like,
Yeah, I'm still kind of new, so people don't know.
I think I see that. Yeah, then I'm crazy.
Just the front dog, you're good.
You should come back here, right? Because you're, yeah, we gotta get those. Yeah, because are we talking into these mics? Yeah.
So,
Did you register for the workshop?
is this the microphone I'm talking into? That road is doing something else, or what's that road?
This is playing your music. This would be the one y'all speaking to.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you. Which one do we talk to?
This one, SM58. So,
Oh, yeah.
I happened to be checking my email at 1:45 in the morning, and email went out, and I'm like, popped up in my email from Underground. Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
We gotta push the table forward just a
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
That was my seat yesterday.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Once I wasn't awake when I left, so I don't know if he got a memo that he was actually able to receive.
Okay. Well, this is the microphone here, so it's not exactly universally located. So if you want to try and make it be a nice wall.
Yeah,
That's enough that you got to deal with.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to put the mic in the middle.
Yeah.
Probably love that.
Give
you some peer pressure.
Well, I got it.
Put it between.
Yeah.
Put your phones on.
Oh yeah, that's right. People are going to be contacted.
Hey, can I get it?
Half of y'all people already know stuff. I don't even know what the hell y'all into. That's you.
I always learn.
Okay, all right.
I can't believe
Yeah, you know stuff too.
Yeah.
All right. You got 2 more seats.
Okay, 2 more.
Thank you. I can roll this as well.
Is this okay for you?
Yeah, it's great. I don't want to give it a fit too.
Alright, that's it. You got everything.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
Well, welcome to the workshops here at the Underground Music Academy. Special week, you know, it's like Techno Christmas for a lot of people here. So we're Ectomorph. I'm BMG. This is, and today, well, we participated in this compilation on Tresor with, you know, Model 500 and Stingray, JakoJako, etc. AMX, yeah, who we just presented. So 030, that's the city code for Berlin. 313 is the original Detroit area code. When I grew up, everything was 313 on that one. But today we're going to present some of how we think in Ectomorph and how you can use instruments to reflect how you think. So it's not, you know, what we show you isn't to do what we do, it's just to show you how to unlock some stuff that these are very malleable instruments. They could be almost anything. It's like a blank notebook. A blank notebook doesn't have to be anything. It could be a sketchbook, it could be a horror novel, it could be whatever you turn it into, your diary. So I like to view modular as kind of like that poetic thing of like it only exists in a moment in time. It's that moment, and that's what you experience. It's very hard to capture the same thing twice, only through like almost insane discipline can you get it to repeat itself. But these are some really fascinating instruments. Erica's main instrument is, she's an incredible sound designer, but her main instrument is the sequencer. Yeah.
I'm a sequencer person, so my favorite thing to do is to use one machine to control a bunch of other machines. And so I set somebody up as my brain, and I use it to tell all of the other instruments, whether they're drum machines or synthesizers or what to play when. So instead of, you know, a lot of machines, like a drum machine has a sequencer in it that you can play in, like a TV3 or like, you know, a lot of synthesizers even have their own little sequencers in them that you can use. But I always wind up having one brain on my whole setup and using that to guide everything else. And so what we're doing today is using his modular with my sequencer so that we can go into like some details around the sound design and the presentation of like one or two, like a couple of voices of what's going on in this verbose universe over here.
Yeah, she used to use this thing called the Octopus, which was like from like 2005. Giant, it was, you know, sequencer.de, but it was sequencer in here.
In like 2006, and it like weighed more than 2 babies, and carrying it around was like really not cool.
It looked like the case made it look like a professional instrument, but it wasn't a professional case. So we would sometimes have to reassemble it when we got to shows. It was rather large, and carrying things is just getting harder and harder.
I kept having screwdrivers stolen from me by TSA because like, then I had to travel with the screwdriver so that I could like open and close it again.
So this is a new addition to Erica's brain.
Extension.
The latest extension. You've done 1 live show with it? 2.
Yeah, and now this.
Wonderful. So this is the Hapax. They're French Squark instruments.
Yeah, it's just it's a new machine. It's very flexible, and I really enjoy it. So it has MIDI out, so that I can control, you know, your regular desktop synthesizers and this kind of stuff. But it also has a bunch of the CV gate out on the back, which is what we're using to talk to the modular today.
Yeah, it's got 4 CVs and 4 gates. We're using a lot of those. And then this system here is my own, you know, self-made verbose system. If you'd like, I could go through the modules to explain what's going on, then I can present the basics of what we're doing to make the tones that we'll make.
I think tell people what's in here.
Yeah, okay.
It's interesting.
So here, at the very beginning, that's just a mult. That means you put something in it and it makes a complement. It can be control voltage or tone. This here is the verbose multi-stage. This is an incredibly flexible instrument, kind of inspired from a Boogeyman Marv, but it's its own thing. There's so many different parameters on it, but in the simplest way, this row here is control voltage A, and how high up it is how high the note is going. And then the bottom row is control voltage B. And in this patch, I'll use the top line to make a melody, and then I'll make the bottom line be changing control voltage. Another way to say that would be, I'm using this line to turn it on. You know, it's like you may not be familiar with, like, I don't know what your level is, you know, control voltage. So all of this stuff is, that's a voltage that makes a knob turn, basically, or makes a value change.
Yeah,
so
we only have 2 hands. So we're basically like using the machine to sort of be all the extra hands that we don't have. We're very, very limited.
A modular synthesizer is like an analog computer, and that'd be a computer from the 1950s where you had to connect a part of it to another part. That's what the initial NASA ships flew. You had to actually manually patch, you know, a part of the computer to a part of the computer. You know, our stuff sounds like a little microchip now. We don't even think about that stuff. But what's fun about this is that you're not locked into anybody else's preconceived ideas. A lot of times when you have a synthesizer, even a brilliant simple thing like a Roland SH-101, you're stuck in how that designer thought about that synth. This way I can use the synth in ways that the designer didn't necessarily think of, or come up with different mutations. So this is the core of, you know, this is the sequencer, which is driven by the Hapax. It tells it when to go forward. I have a gate coming out of that, which will make an envelope spawn, and it's a strange envelope. It's a polyphonic envelope, so it makes an envelope based on it's a tag, hold, decay. So it's a quick envelope, but it makes 4 of those based on 1 trigger, and I use usually the first and fourth one, but in this patch I'm just using the first and second one. Will be here is our core oscillator for the show, is the harmonic oscillator. This is has the ability to take a sine wave and then add up to 8 harmonics of that sine wave over. Now, usually you'd have to move the faders up to make the tone, but in this case, like, let's see. So that's the harmonic oscillator with nothing changing.
No control going to it.
Here's a 3rd harmonic, 5th, 7th. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this harmonic scan section, which can change. This is a mixer. It can change the width of what it's mixing and the center of where it's mixing. So that moves it throughout those different sine waves, and you'll hear it as we ping it. We can make the sound kind of breathe and change. The wonderful thing about the verbose modules is they all have attenuators on them. So when you put the control voltage in, you often have a knob which allows you to take that control voltage, make it go more positive, go more negative, so you can dial in how the tone is affecting what you're doing. And that's like, not all modular stuff does that, but the verbose stuff is designed to be used real time as you're thinking, just blah, 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 you know, like it can do it really fast. So the attenuators are super useful. We have a control voltage processor here, which we could put different types of control voltage into, mix them together, automate that mixing. We're going to use it to create an envelope on top. We could take a sound in here, like a voltage into here, and slew it, or you know, smear it, slow it down. You know, so you got like a normal baseline, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like you can do it to all sorts of different things. Once you understand what they do, it's kind of weird with the modular. You can explain it, but then you use it. And then you kind of understand it more, and then you understand it less. And then you have to work with it some more, and you have to think about it, and then be like, oh. No,
it's like any relationship with any other living creature.
This one's fun because it's like, I like to think about, you know, electronic music as just like, we're trying to make like little machines that do parts of our brain, not like, you know, like operating your feet or something, but like, it's like games that it's like thoughts. It's like a cartoon version of a thought. It's like a purified thought. And I think about electronic music in that way. It's a pure form of thought, less filtered. So the control voltage processor today is just providing us with a really cool envelope that we'll use to open up the foundation oscillator, which we'll be using. That's the second oscillator that we're using. So that'll be the high tones. Here's what it sounds like before we sequence it. It's kind of an interesting tone because it's like a triangle wave, but then it's got some sine wave being mixed into it, and then its harmonics are folding over, so it's got some little bit of wave folding on it. So it's an interesting tone. It's like Don Buchla had this concept of like, why use a standard waveform? Why just use triangles? Why just use a saw? Why just use a square wave that a trumpet would make? Like, why do that? Roll your own waveform. Create your own waveform. That was his theorem. So there's a big inspiration from Buchla inside the verbose stuff. But as you can see, unlike a Buchla, you can fit it into a case this small. A Buchla would not fit into a case this big. It would need like this high for its circuit boards to go down into. But Mark Verbose is a brilliant designer, so this stuff is just only ever one panel. So this is a really deceptively simple oscillator, a nice tiny thing, but you can get so many different tones out of it. And then you'll see how we animate it with control voltage coming from Erica, and then with the voltage multi-stage to be shaping it. I told you about the polyphonic envelope to an extent. You know, we have down here we have this thing called the random sampling. This is just a classic random concept. So we send it a trigger, it can take, and that tells it to give us a new value, of some kind of range. You turn this knob, you get a different part of the range. They're random, so it's like an unpredictable new value. We'll have that going into the filter, and we have this dual 4-pole filter, which is a kind of a recreation of a Buchla 100 module that I think was extremely rare in the 1960s. That's before even the Buchla 200 series, which if you've seen Buchla stuff, usually you see that. I mean, the famous red panel one that people licked that had LSD was like a 100 series, you know, for the San Francisco tape collector. But this one does not come with acid. But this is just 2 filters, a high pass and a low pass in order. You could use them separately, but we use them in series. What makes it so cool, it's not like a Korg MS-20 filter or something, which is like, you know, just awesome. You know, it's got that awesome effect, you know, like an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo or something. It's awesome, you know? But this is just like some creepy 1960s filter that's kind of crusty. And when you move the knobs, it just feels crusty. So what we do is we got control voltage coming from Erica to move the low pass knob. And when it comes in, we'll show you. It makes this, it moves the knob like this. And it does this really cool warble that you can really feel in the tone. We're trying to make the tones go from static tones, which you would just normally just quickly make, into things that are like breathing and mutating, you know, that feel like alive by themselves. You know, you can just sit there and stare at it and go like, wow, it's doing something interesting. It really feels like a thing, like a living thing. So you try to animate it. So she's got a signal going in there, and then we have some signals coming from, we'll be processing. You can see these little yellow lights moving on this one. This one's called the real world interface. It gives us 3 different sections. The outer 2 sections are the one that we're using. They're the same as each other. And it's got a little microphone right here built into it. One right here. And then we got that turned up a bit so that you can see that little yellow knob. The closer I get, the more action you get. So the louder it is, you see it's those little yellow values are moving on the follower, it says. So that's creating a control voltage that's following how loud we are in here. So even like if one of you screamed, it would change the values. These are just affecting the shapes of the envelope, of the polyphonic envelope that will be doing the bass line, that will be affecting the bass line. This module we're not even using, it just happened to fit. Then we got 2 versions of the verbose VCAs, voltage controlled amplifiers, control voltage control. So basically what voltage controlled amplifier means. So right now we have it at 0. It moves the knob. That's what the control voltage does, it moves the knob. So we'll make an envelope that moves that knob so it opens it up to, you know, different kind of tones. And the wonderful thing about these things is they have these filters on the side so we can filter them down if we choose to do that. This will, the way we have the envelope coming in, it takes the resonance down, the cutoff frequency down, which then causes the resonance to interplay with that, which makes a cool part of the tone. It's using a Vactrol. Vactrols still exist, but we no longer use them because they're kind of like the way they're made currently, they're like unethical for trash and humans and creatures that live on Earth and whatnot. So they're out of rotation now, but this is a vintage unit. It has a thicker, fuzzier tone. I love to use it for bass lines and things that just need to be giant. And then, like almost anything you run into it just sounds like this really, you know, you're putting it through something really fascinating. And then this one, the amplitude and tone, amp and tone, So that was the amplitude and tone controller. The smaller version is called amp and tone because
Fewer letters.
yeah. This one is way tighter as far as how the math goes. It doesn't have the Vactrol in it, so the Vactrol slows it down. That's a light, and so it receives how much like the sound makes the light get bright, and then it reacts to the lights, the control voltage from that. So that can be very slow in how that happens. There's a famous compressor, the LA2A, that operates on this theorem, or on this this optical light thing. So that's what a Vactrol is. People get really tripped out about it. I think it's the coolest thing. They try to get as many Vactrols in their synth as possible. It doesn't matter. It's a cool thing. But the amp and tone. Well, how I'm using it here is it's just like the ARP 2600 had 2 inputs on its VCA for envelopes. This one allows us to put in 2 envelopes. So we'll be taking the one that we've generated from the control voltage processor that triggers for this high tone into here. So I have that set up in positive, so that makes the VCA open, so you hear the tone. And then I have this gray one here is coming out of the reference envelope. Every time the verbose the voltage multi-stage steps forward, it makes a falling triangle. So for every note, it just makes a little triangle that comes down. So that's useful because it's just bing, 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 bing. I'm using that to subtract from the envelope that this is making, and it makes a little bit of a shimmer in the tone. The math in this thing is really tight, so you can actually dial these kind of things in. And I'll demonstrate changing that. You can hear how the sound changes. So that's the synth patch and the modules.
And then the 2 outputs that we have are one from each of those amps. So then the 2 outputs are going into the 2-channel and the DJ mixer, and that's what you're actually hearing.
So yeah. Should we demonstrate some tones?
Let's press play.
Okay, let's keep this one down to start.
So basic tone. We're not doing really anything to like shape anything at this point except for the amp. So like when it's open and closing and when you actually get to hear it instead of it just being that drone that we get when we just turn that amp knob.
Oh yeah. For instance, turn off this input or turn off this equals. So psychotone, it's like a Frankenstein dance or something. Frankenstein scared fire. Watch out. So that's Erik is sending control voltage to it now, which is allowing it to change. And then we hear this envelope here, opening and closing the VCA.
Sending a control voltage pattern that's affecting the actual tone, like the pitch of the tone, and that's being layered on top of what he's doing there. And this is it's all happening in the same kind of time, so we have like a very like even feeling, kind of like 8-bar loop basically, or 8 whatever, 16-step loop.
oscillator through the voltage control, the amplitude and tone control, but it also is going through the dual 4-pole filter. All of that's being controlled. All these black cables are coming from here in this system. So that's driving the changes in the tone.
This triggers the other tone.
Okay.
So this gets kind of fun. In this sequence, I'm just sending like a very even, like twice in the bar tone to just kind of like give it a little bit of a pickup. And what's kind of fun about this is that with a sequencer like this, it's really easy, or any sequencer, to send something that's happening regularly, like every 4 notes, every 8 notes, every 4 notes, every 8 notes, every 16 notes, something like this. But with a sequencer like this, what you can do is actually get into it and set it up to loop on a 12 or a 10, so that instead of having a regular pickup, you can start to have something that's changing more irregularly, so that you can go from making a very kind of like simple basic sound to something that's way more interesting to hear over time. So we're just doing these like transformations, all the subtle transformations that we set up to hear, just little differences that you can make with timing on like with timing basically. So this one is moving on 10, so it's doing just like a little circle time change like that happens irregularly to like the main thing that's running at 16. So now you have something that's like, much longer. I'm really into layering sequences and sending things at different lengths back to the same tone, so that you get like different permutations in time and some like much longer patterns. So listen.
Suppose you do a drawing first.
So this second tone is being triggered by the whole same original situation that's coming out of the other hand. So it has like a different filter applied to it. And this is someone just going to play through just like some of the variations that we made to this tone also, like the different kinds of
Erica likes to make sequences that aren't based on just it being like 16th note sequence or normal, like, she likes to shorten those things, like, so for another musical way of saying it, it's like almost like using different time scales so that it repeats differently. You get different looping so you don't get bored.
So we're still playing the same 3 notes, but they're just playing them in different places in time as the bar moves, so that like something simple, like 3 notes, can become something that lasts for like, the next 2 or 3 minutes, and it's hard to track. Like 3 notes can be super, super interesting if you're just like always changing up when you're playing, but that's part of the point of like why sequencers are fun, and like why I like to keep my sequencer kind of separate and on the outside, because then I'm not limited to like one way of programming it. I can do layers in the programming, and I can do much like other different kinds of variations in the programming. So that's where we're at. And then we also, and this is just a little bit of like, you can add a little bit of effects to something and transform it so much from a sound design perspective. So even a DJ mixer like this, you don't even need a guitar pedal or something. You can like, so many of the DJ mixers or like any mixer you buy will have usually at least a reverb and a delay built into it. And those are like really like the two things that if you have a reverb and a delay, you can transform the sound in so many different ways. And for me, that's like the minimum requirements of like doing a live performance or like doing some piece of sound design.
I would say that for techno, to complete making techno, you only really need two effects, and that is echo, delay, and reverb. And so here, yeah, we're just, this is the foundation oscillator. It's having its some of this wave shaping happening, like it's sequenced by how these things are going. And then I think if we do this pattern, we do something that's interesting for you to listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that you enjoy, because this is a process where, you know, some meditation happens. I usually find with music creation, you're going to face a part of your own inner demons where you're like, why am I doing this? I'm no good. Like, I suck. Everything
sounds
sucks.
terrible.
Like, why can't I get
Even
anything
the cat
to work?
doesn't like it.
You know, you could get faced with engineering issues, like why isn't this even working? You know, doing a basic thing. So there's all these different things that you have to overcome. But like, I'd say like the thing to remember is like you're doing it because it's actually really fun, and it's kind of confusing because your brain is designed to make you not have fun, and. Like to pull you out of that all the time because you know you're gonna get eaten by something. So like you should be alert. They got big waveforms. It's like saw teeth. They're coming right for you. But my point is just that you're trying to make something that's really fascinating to listen to. And after you've made something, it's like so. There's a couple of different things. I like to make the tones really come alive by feeding parts of them back into themselves. Erica likes to make unusual sequence links and layer those in a way that comes alive. So these are just ways of like listening to something that's inherently repetitive and making it interesting for you to like, oh, that little change. And it's like, you know, it's always evolving and feels alive. So that can be kind of exciting.
So does anybody have questions?
So like in a production context, you mentioned like how everything you make on a modular can essentially never be recreated exactly. Do you maybe just like fire up the modular and then record everything and then kind of go back later and take all of the things that sound interesting?
That's like a process, right? That's a thing that people do. Like there's a number of different famous bands that have used that process, like the group Can recorded all their jams to 2-track tape, and then Ultrazuke would edit those 2 tracks to make their songs. You know, recording on a hard drive for an hour isn't like expensive. You know.
But you do have to take the time later to go back and find the parts, which you may or may not find that you have the energy or interest doing, because there's this feeling of jamming and like, oh, I'm done jamming now, it's over, it's done. But if you record for a whole hour, maybe you're not actually done yet. And editing is a whole other kind of process.
My concept that I personally use is I try to make it something I really want to hear. That's a jam, that's the thing for today, and then I record that thing for today. You know, I try and do it all within a couple hours. If I'm having like a real relaxing time, I'm going to spend a lot of time at it. I do 4 hours, but no matter what I'm going to record, and I'm going to record a piece that I know that I'm gonna have to listen to again. So I think about that. You know, I know I'm not gonna get it perfect. That's crazy. And then pushing.
Perfection doesn't even exist. And there's also this thing that happens in this process where you're having an idea and you work through it and you're like, wow, that was so great and I missed it. But that's okay because these ideas are like coming from the ether into your brain and through your fingers and the machines, and there's going to be another idea.
I've worked with a literal synth genius, and he something really terrible happened, and we did this in crazy session, and all the things on the keyboard changed after we recorded. Then the recording didn't take. There was a mistake there, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll make a better version." And he sat down and he made a better version. Not a lot of people have that mentality. They'll be like, "Oh, it's gone forever." He was like, "Okay, we'll make a better version. I remember what I was doing." It was like, and then he made it like what, But it's I grew up to a lot of sonic perfection, like the Arthur Baker 12 inches, the Soul Sonic Force things. Like to me, this was perfect, or certain New Order records, or, there were things that were I thought were fucking flawless, but New Order was just jamming. It's, but jamming isn't practice. It's different. So I like to record live jamming, but after I've developed it enough that I would want to hear it again, because also it's your time. You have to listen to it again. Like, do you really want to have to do that? Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is yes.
I mean, when you started, you had a little different mentality where you were trying to recreate. Yeah. And you did succeed. So it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but not a lot of people are perceptive as many details as I am. And it's I was told that when people come up with really great patches and they want to repeat it in live shows, that they don't move the knobs, they move the cables in a modular show. And that's a technique from the 70s, of I'm doing a modular performance. If I change that knob, you never know, because these are
anything can happen.
If you're doing complex on, wave folding and stuff, you don't know what's going to sound right, where the weird bands come in. The parts that you want to use. Sometimes it sounds cool. Sometimes it's really cool to hear somebody search. Be on stage and search for a concept. I think it's a wonderful thing to do live modular stuff and have it be actually live. But that's a tightrope that a lot of people can't do. It's
actually almost impossible. The only person I've ever really seen do it is Mark Ribos.
Well, I mean, there are other people that can do it, and I mean, there's crazy stuff. There's this guy who can fill stadiums. This Colin Bender's guy.
Sure. It's a lifetime of discipline. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's like being a ninja, or a high level monk that is gonna transcend the cycle of samsara. It's a deep thing, but it is possible. Not everybody's Jeff Mills on the 909. You want to be, but it takes a lot of work. But okay, any more questions?
Yeah. So as far as you were talking about jamming and going back and all that stuff. Just recently, I played 4 hour set, my longest live set. I do a lot of and my music partner. She does most of the modular. This was a solo gig, and I do most of the rhythm sequencers. This was a solo gig, and I'm used to just the 1 hour. There was a moment within those 4 hour time thing where it just felt more appealing and calming than the 1 hour thing, because it seemed too tailored. How often do you find yourself with that?
So, okay, I'm friends with these guys in Rome who do these 4 hour live shows. That's what they do, Voices from the Lake. And it's when I first saw them do it, I'm like, what? You're really gonna play they had an 808 and effects, and they were gonna do a live show, or seeing Tobias and Adam TM do a live show, and you're like, they're using like 4 pieces of equipment, and like we're going to hear this for hours. What? You know? And then like the 3rd hour in, you're like, it's getting even better. You know? And it's I feel like you lock in over time.
You do, for sure. I mean, when I've done those like 6-8 hour jams with Circle and Live, it's like actually more like live jamming, and you have the support of 2 or 3 other people there with you, so you're not kind of entirely on the spot. But there's a point in the middle of it where you're all just locked. And that point cycles, like it happens every now and again, and you just kind of like fall into this zone. So that zone is real. That zone is absolutely real.
I would say, and then it's the way the dance experience is, they give DJs like, you know, sometimes like 70 minutes, 45 minutes. You know, it's pretty common at festivals to see an hour-long DJ set. You know, I think that's nuts. Back-to-back for an hour. You know, that's really crazy to do to people. And then also live shows are an hour. Like, that's how it's thought of. But you know, you get a great band, and it's a lot more fun to let them go. But that's not, people want to really, you know.
Do you think there should be a discussion about like that difference between curating and creating?
Well, there should be more spaces for live electronic music. Right. It's not as limited.
Right, where it's not put into this
we're just going to see DJs. Because a DJ is an experience, you know, and you expect a certain thing out of it. A live thing, you can be searching for something more. And that's a lot of psychedelic culture was built on just experiencing live bands. So I would love to see, you know, more places where you could focus in on live. Like when we do our outer space room at No Way Back, we try to do as much live ambient as we can. You know, so that people can experience people thinking and creating the music on the spot as it flows into each other. And I think that's really special. Any more questions?
Yes. So the verbose stuff is known for being very organic, and I feel like that's great for the Ectomorph sound because over the years, it seems like your projects, your songs, it just gets more and more organic to the point where it feels like it's reaching out of the speaker at you. So I was wondering if you guys could just speak on the evolution of your sound and a little bit of your just ethos when it comes to this sort of thing.
When I started, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I just knew I really wanted to do it. Like the first Ectomorph records when I was 23 years old. And it was based on, you know, I had like, when I look back on it, I'm pretty impressed about, you know, how much theorems and concepts I had that were so strong at the time, what I was reacting to. I was like filtering like, you know, early Aphex Twin, like isoproplex kind of thing, with like Mika Vanio's music, Basic Channel, Dan Bell, obviously Drexcia, like massive influence. But I'm like, how do we go forward? And it's like techno, but like not always straight. And then there was this aspect of Detroit music that the Electrifying Mojo and the Wizard had shown me that I really wanted to put into it. But now, like, it's just like, you know, recorded onto a DAT that's like a little home recorder. You know, it's about the worst thing. It'd be like using like a sound card you found in the trash or something. You know, it's like that. You know, it's really low quality recording of. I wish I had high-end quality of that stuff. As the more we learned how to use the equipment, the more I was able to express the engineering side of it. Originally, I didn't know anything about engineering. It's all done on just borrowed mixers, like bedroom floor. Could be 4 or 5 different levels of the like bedroom floor here, some on the table, some over there. Like, hey, you start that, you know, and like I just remember getting so frustrated. Like one time, my partner fell asleep on the keyboard. You know, like with it holding down the arpeggio, and that's like I'm like, okay, this is the song. I had to mix it over again, you know, like straddling him. But yeah, like at this point, we actually do engineering, and I try to make it feel as alive as possible, and you know, record it in a way that I think is like, you know, good.
And I also feel that we've gotten more and more exploratory and like seeking sound design and jamming and like putting instruments together in different ways. And I think that that's what you're talking about in the evolution of the sound.
Yeah, because it just seems like when you have, I only started jamming with people recently, and the chemistry that you have and the flow that you can get into is like unparalleled compared to working with yourself. Like you might be able to go deeper into an idea when you're on your own, but you get there's such a bigger breadth when you just had one more brain there.
Yeah.
And one more
there's
set of
there's like an unspoken communication that happens between multiple people in a room who are like having this experience together.
Yes.
And it's also really interesting because listening back to recordings like that, you can hear yourself, but it also doesn't sound like you. And I think that's really, really interesting as well.
That is fascinating. I think in a way, like here I use a random module to like turn knobs where I can't expect how they're going to turn. And working with another person is often like that, where you don't know what's going to happen. Something that they wouldn't do by themselves, something you wouldn't do by themselves. A new thing happens just from multiple people being there and the shared brain that comes, because like it's not just your brain, it's a collective brain. And I think that's really fascinating. Anybody else here?
So when you both are working together, do you have ideas that you start separate, or do you just come together with a clean slate and just take time to create?
Both. Actually, yeah. Like sometimes like we'll talk a bunch and then I'll come over and like maybe I'll have some things that I wrote and we'll listen to them, but then they change. Maybe I decide I don't like them, or maybe they evolve because he wrote something else and now I'm gonna listen to it together, and now what he wrote changed and what I wrote changed, and it kind of does this like joint evolution.
That's very
And sometimes we sit down and all of our sequencers are empty and things are just, and then we just start and see how it goes from there. It's like two different.
There is
what you did for this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we sat down with nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, this started out like as
we
nothing.
gotta do something. Brendan's like, these are some modules I have in this case, and I was like, cool. Let's figure out what's happening here. That's cool.
I have a question. When you like practice, oftentimes you work with the music feeling or taking in the space, or do you oftentimes, close down, you're still in the same space, but then see how that works? Me and my music partner, we've tried that a few different times, and just the music, it's so different. And I heard it, what you said, it's like you hear it back, then you hear yourself, but it's not you, it's like different you. And that's something that we've thought of because, the music starts taking the space and, blending and creating this whole like air thing that's happening within. But it's very much different if, you're still sitting under the same table, but you're in this well-confined personal space, well aware of what's happening, but not necessarily in the same physical space.
I'd say like we both also DJ, and when you DJ, you need to perform what you feel, right? But you can't just go and do whatever you want. It's to the space, it's to the context, so it shifts. So there's a part of taking it in, but if it's like you're at a shitty place and it sucks, you don't then reflect sucking.
No, you have to create the vibe yourself. Like that's actually your job, is to transcend the sucking and actually like connect to the higher entity, like connect to the entity of the music. Right there.
Yeah, it's like because then that's your job to make it so that there's a reason to live instead of to give up.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of you don't want to give in to despair.
Because you actually have the power to make like this sucky situation not suck for the 6 people who are there. And like that's actually like your duty.
Have the sucky situations come further and farther between as you progress in your career, or do they still?
They still pop up for sure. Like you can't control like when you get a booking, you don't know what it's going to be like until it happens, and mostly things go really well. And honestly, even the things that are smaller that some people might be, there were 6 people where it wasn't fun. I mean, even those are really rewarding, or can be really rewarding if you're coming at it in the right way, and the situation isn't truly like all of your gear caught on fire or something. But like, even when that happens, there's things that you can do about it. So, right.
Any other questions?
You guys were talking about like just playing more with like, irregularity and stuff. What are your guys' thoughts on like no input mixing? Do you guys know what that is?
No.
No, input mixing is basically like you don't have like an input going in. You actually put the ins to the outs, like on like your own mixer per se, and then you start switching up the knobs, and it's really like random and
like feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback. Well, yeah, it's well with my modular. I do things called feedback patches, where I'll do I have this verbose module called the bark filter, and I'll feed it into itself, but it's also it's a graphic EQ for 12 bands, and you can really get this feedback thing going. There's a number of Brian Eno used complex feedback patches, for U2 and a bunch of the things he produced. It's really neat. It's like an alive type of thing. It's like I do work with feedback a lot. I love the rawness and unpredictability. There's I love to make a delay feedback. That's one of my favorite things. Or you can. This filter doesn't do it, but if some filters with resonance, if you get in there, they can make the tone without anything. And then you can just send a trigger to it, and it makes like a ping. That's called pinging the filter. There's with the modulator, there's a number of different ways you can make music with it. And I have explored making it with nothing actually generating a tone that should be generating. It's like riding a wave. I don't know how to surf, but I guess it feels like to me it feels like
surfing on sine waves, right?
Well, see, that would make sense. It's like this is like surfing on a really random wave. It's amazing.
Anything else? We're almost at time.
You said something that kind of stuck out to me, that practice is not jamming. Could you elaborate on the difference between the two?
I feel like I feel like jamming comes first, and jamming is the process it's like a very exploratory process, maybe with or without a goal in mind. Like, what does this sound like? How does it feel? Like, how do these things work together? Like, it's a very exploratory process. And then practice is more of a process of refinement. So, like, when you're jamming and something sticks out to you as, I liked that, or that was fun, or here's something I might want to repeat later, practice then becomes the process of, like, excerpting those parts and repeating them and becoming more expert at them. And then that's how I differentiate.
But before you can even jam, you need to have the discipline period where you learn your equipment. Because you can jam, but like, what are you doing? It's like you got to know your stuff a little bit. Like, you don't got to be a maestro, but you gotta.
You want to learn, have a feeling for what the different notes do, how the things are fitting together, and that is also practice.
How do you express yourself? How do you express how you think? And how do you present that with sound? So that is a kind of discipline where you need to get to know this stuff, and then you move. That's a thing you have to do. That has to be part of your process. And then jamming is a part where you're taking what you know about your stuff and then trying to make something happen without a preconceived notion.
And so jamming can feel really good when you're practiced enough at your equipment to understand what it's doing, so that you have an idea and you can express that idea. Jamming can be really rough if you're using a couple of new things and you have an idea and you don't know how to get that idea out. So the practice actually can become the framework and the support for making jamming be effective and have a great vibe.
So I think that unless there's any, we can do one last question or we can close the class.
Yeah.
Or whatever this is, workshop.
Well, I guess I have one more question. So, I acquired an 808 last fall. It was a project. I rehabilitated it. I really like it a lot, Erica. I've seen it in your studio before. And I was just wondering if you had any little tips and tricks, not just for the 808, but for drums in general.
I mean, drums are so fun. I mean, what I like to do with drums is make sure actually that each tone is sounding the way that I want it to. So by that I mean with my drum machines, I like to run the individual outputs out of them so that I can shape each sound to fit best into what's going on. I'm okay, I'm gonna put I might EQ one a certain way and put what kind of reverb on another one and this kind of thing. So for me, the drum machine is where it starts, but then taking each sound, it's kind of shaping it to fit what you're doing is the next step.
I mean, I think with the 808, it's an incredibly powerful drum machine. So it's and then if you're programming it from itself, that's a whole other thing. You got the A and B, and you can like, you know, you got the two parts, and then you got the fill-in patterns, and you can automate the fill-in patterns. It's a lot of ways of thinking about this. Got an irregular clock. You know, the clock is not on time. It's like a bad drummer. So
that gives it vibe.
Yeah,
that gives it so much vibe.
That's it's the core of the early Ectomorph records, but you have to, like, if you're a DJ, you got to constantly.
You got to work.
You got to do that finish.
Yeah, I can hear it a bit on Breakthrough. That was one of the good ones that had a little bit.
We like working.
I can start thinking about something else. But yeah, it's that's a wonderful thing to explore.
Yeah. But hey, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Today.
What up? What's going on, y'all?
Chill, shit. I can't party like that.
Can't party? What happened?
I couldn't even drink.
That's so real, bro. I'm getting old.
I looked at some of the flyers, I'm like, 10 to 10? That's like, oh shit.
You start to believe that shit.
But I mean, you got the day parties, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna check out the barbecue. Might start back in Berlin.
That's real.
Y'all be good though, man?
Moving and grooving, man. That's the name of the game.
I'm be like, hey. Grandfather named
I didn't know y'all was using Ableton. I'm about to leave.
That's so crazy. This nigga wild.
We like to do Ableton up in this house, you know what I'm saying?
They said we can't say nigga. Is that true?
He was like,
Oh, we mobile. Oh, wow. Like, scooting out here. Sample the wheels.
oh, my name's Raj.
Raj from Samuel.
Samuel? Hi. Madeline.
Yep, nice to meet you.
Okay, cool.
But
me too. Some voucher outside.
Yeah.
what's up? What up, Cam? What up? That's my sister and her cousin. Okay. Hey, class.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Hey, guys.
So we are HiTech, and my name is Milo.
47 chops.
And Lil Felly. And we are all friends. Make music together. And it happens to be Ghetto Tech, which happens to be one of the many indigenous sounds of Detroit. And we are here today to show you guys how we put our twist on Techno and put our twist on Ghetto Tech. So, I use Ableton. I love Ableton.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yep. This what I'm using right now is Ableton Live Suite 12. And he uses Ableton.
I use Ableton FL sometimes.
Ableton.
Hardware.
You know what I'm saying?
Gang, gang.
He's trying to get us privy to the hardware life. So we're figuring it out as we go, but we like to experiment and make it all correlate. So also, you know, we wanted to kind of show you guys some stuff with the 808, but we figured it'd probably be a little better to just kind of talk y'all through how we do things on the door here. So like pretty much we went through the troubles of just kind of like picking like a good set of keys from Splice. You know, normally we would like our homies to come play some stuff, or we play some stuff, feel it out, see what we like, and again, make it all make sense. But there's nothing wrong with Splice. I love Splice. I love samples, I love cuts. Sometimes if I could push this table around, Gito told us not to do that. If we push the table around and make some noise when the mic caught it and stuff, we can make music out of that. That's how one of our tracks, Zulu, was made. So like, without us doing all that extra stuff, we gonna like make some cool stuff. And I'll just kick it off, and then I'm gonna be hopping up, letting the boys jump in here and there, and we just gonna get it. But like, something healthy. So this is the sample we're gonna be using today. It's just some keys. We already cut them around and moved them around. You know, you cut things and move things how you would like. Obviously, when you're making your music, you want to go to your vibe. There's no specific sound for Ghetto Take is it's really just how do you say the moment? It's the statements. So the statement always comes last for us. So we got that going. I'm gonna loop that in a minute, but we're just gonna go ahead and get some right hats and stuff. This is just some stuff, some kits we got going on here, some kits I got. Sometimes I go to the Metro Booming kit, it's my go-to. And we just go through and grab some stuff. This is the saucy kit, we're just playing around. We see all types of weird stuff in here. I just pick what sounds good and just slap. I'm gonna do it like that. Since I got the midis lined up and stuff, we're just gonna find what we want, line it up, get that metronome slapping, and catch a wave. It does that capture thing so I can play around. Just snaps it. I get in here. Sometimes I quantize, sometimes I don't. Definitely doing it today. And definitely might not snap the way I want it to. Never really does. But you get in there and you capture. I like to get my levels right. Me, I like to have like a lot of different hats in here. This is what I do. Some people keep it smooth, simple, and freak their hats and make them just do all types of cool stuff. So yeah. Things are like that. Mess around over here. And that's everything. Make noise.
If you guys want to make some noise, whatever goes. This is music. You're supposed to have fun, okay?
All the time. Like, yeah, just make noise. Like, if y'all want to fart and just make it comfortable for a second, it's gonna stop. Bro, let's love this poopy.
We make a poopy bean. It's okay.
Yeah, chop it up.
Yeah.
Stretch it out.
Stretch it out.
That's crazy. Sky. Alright, I'm just gonna make some more noise. Here we go. Right that back there. I like to contort.
Are all the drums from Splice too, or are these an agent?
Nah, bro. These is pickups. A lot of these is downloads from like drum machines stuff like that.
Yeah,
like just
and
crazy stuff. And Reddit.
Reddit.
Come on, little daddy.
Shout out to Reddit.
Man, I'm telling you. So this like we got some homies who play with their machines and just off the humbug, just is like, yo, wondering what you would do with these and just give stuff your friends would do.
Yeah.
Just making sounds, contorting noises, making them make sense. No real order, just doing it. Matter of fact, we double back. No real order, we're just doing it and doing it.
The key is to experiment.
Very much so.
The experiment, great.
See what I like to do. I've been here and play with effects. Mess with stuff. And then more and more and more and more chaos. We just gonna throw it in there in a minute. I'm just started shoveling stuff in there, and the artist was like, okay, what's happening? It's gonna be apparent that I've never done this before.
You gotta trust the process. That's also a vital step in making beats.
That's the essential key.
Essential.
It's trust. Trust me.
It might not make sense then.
It might not make sense later.
Might not make sense later.
Just judge it at the end.
Yeah, I like a lot of reverb stuff. I'm about to get up. I'm gonna lay this clap. I'm gonna let my boy Milk Melly get in there and just put some whatever he wants because I love his kicks. His kicks be crazy. Let's see. What do I got? What do I got? What do I want? Same kick. That's cute. Jump house in the world. Was it yesterday?
All right. About to get to the new one. AKA 808s or kicks. You gotta fill it out sometimes, you know what I'm saying? That was not right there.
stuff. Completely random. You find something that somebody else kidded, it didn't necessarily have to be for them in the first place. You just make it make sense for you. And then you contort. You find something that was built for something else and you make it what you want to make it. Find a statement, make a statement. That sounds like the song right there. Find a statement, make it. TikTok. Make a statement. Find a statement. Make a statement. Find a statement. Make a statement. That's a fashion statement. That's a fashion statement. Yeah, that's a fashion statement. Matches with the bracelet. Find a statement. Make a statement. That's it. So that would be about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really all that. Like, bro, like jump in like that. Just like that. That's the song right there. That's what it's all about, man.
Y'all use shaper box at all? Like,
I've heard of it.
I'm hip to it.
I played with it a little bit on somebody else's dog. Yeah. Like,
I think it's like the same shit though.
Same, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like to use like Ableton's plugins that they got going on too. You know, their stock is kind of incredible. They rock it.
Nah, for real.
So, if you were to change the tempo, the master tempo, would it all stay in time or would it stretch out?
I mean, yeah, if you got everything like it's like this warp setting, right? And sometimes if you got like an audio file, like an audio clip, like how this sample up here is an audio clip, if you don't have that warp stabilized, let me go ahead and put that on there real quick. Let's see. He looked up. I was like, what is he looking at? Oh, he's looking at the screen. You can tell I've done this every day of my life. But this here, so I double click on that, and then right here is that warp thing. Boom. You see how I did that, and then like moved it, shifted it, it moved it into the time of the BPM. So like if I keep that out of that, and this other one right here is a sample, and that's gonna be good where that's at too. I like to consolidate everything and just kind of make it be one thing, so it's easy to keep track of. Command J. Keep it there. I can also move, you know, I can transpose. I can get a lot of stuff going with the pitch and smooth things how I want, you know, cut things, shape things, and then again consolidate. But keep it all in one place. And to answer your question, Dr. Ma, I'm gonna go ahead and just like move this time as we go. So playing this, slowing down the BPM. To that too, because a lot of people like to make things at one time, contort and play, and then speed it up. You know, it's a magic BPM for everything. That's how we got around with this BPM. So like, didn't they ban like BPM, a certain BPM somewhere? I forgot.
Yeah, it was in Russia.
In Russia.
Yeah, in Russia. And and do they know the halftime rule? You know, that's pretty cool, man.
I think that out.
Music is music is magic. Yeah, it is. So, you know, but again, back to statement. Normally, if we had the like mics hooked up and we were ready, like us, we would just jump on and just make noise. We would say something, bye, 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 bye. Dance with me. Contort, move, cut, chop. I put the hair where the legs go, and I put the arms where the chest is. And then it's supposed to make that kind of sense. So, but then I'm gonna speed it up. Here we go. The DJ's dream. Everything works. So, like, yeah, that's essentially what we would do. It's a lot of laying out and stuff that we would do, but that comes with the building of the song. But the magic here is the statement.
Hey, just a question. Do you guys usually start with a melody, or does it like depend? Will you sometimes start with like a kick? Is it just like whatever you're feeling?
It really
starting?
depends. Yeah, it really depends. Because sometimes, personally, I would start off with just percussion.
Yeah.
And then put the sample in, or play it how I want to. So it really just depends.
And sometimes I don't have a sample. Like I'll have a sample and I'll play it out, and and like, you know, the fellas will listen to it, and I'll make a full-on like track, and then we'll all get in there and then move things around, and then we end up just stripping the whole sample, or we strip the whole set of keys, or we strip the conga, or we strip whatever created that melody and whatever we made a melody, and then we just lay something else there, and it just so happens to work.
It's really like our process is like intuitive. Like we don't go in like, oh yeah, we about to do this. Like we literally fill it out and like, oh shit, this okay, all right, this is what we gonna put with this, and then we gonna bring it all together like this, and yeah, just go from there.
Yeah, like when we go to different studios and stuff, it's essentially like our laptop and whatever somebody has there. Like, what was this? A little bit ago, we were playing with this thing called the Hydra sample. If anybody's familiar, it's kind of like a super. It's like the perfect machine for us, right? For what we're talking about. It has a random button. It's like thousands of sounds. It's a random button, and it will make all of these sounds that you can't get anywhere. You won't find anywhere. You can't find this. Yeah, it's working the wires. It's working the wires on the board, and it's making. It gives you that element. I really truly love Ghetto Tech and making it because it's really all of the songs that we got going on out here. It's everything. It's definitely techno, but it's everything. It's hip hop. It's house. It's folk music. It's like everything. Bro. Like it's
so many different elements.
Yeah, it's just it's country. Shoot, it's just statement stuff, and then it's stamping it.
Oh, sorry, I was waiting on something.
Oh, everybody bye. But like, so yeah, that's what that is. And I don't know, like that's our process essentially. And then we'll sit down, turn that skeleton, flesh it out a little more. Shoot, just keep adding crazy junk. I think we had some stuff laying around in here too.
Just like incorporate some hardware into it, like different sounds from that, and yeah.
In terms of like writing lyrics and everything, so when you lay out lyrics for a track, do you ever like revise, or like how do you like think about songwriting and everything in terms of that?
It's experience, just like personal experience. Like man, how do I say this? I got a song called "Why You Fuck My Ops." Yeah, we all relate to that somewhere. And it's like that's a thing. It's a thing, right? It's something that happened, and I didn't have to think too hard to understand that somebody would feel uncomfortable. Yeah, it's like, you know, and I put a melody on it. He put some things on it. We look back at it. Chops was like, yeah, here. We move things where they need to go, and then I sing, why did you fuck my house? At that point, it's just making it make sense with the music. You know, kids be saying the craziest stuff. You get this to a kid and get that vibe for a Ghetto Tech joint and just make it make sense to you. It's just statements.
What's your process for kind of, you make this kind of statement, this like sort of loop that you start from. How do you think about kind of adding some movement or variation in the track while still keeping that kind of statement at the core of it?
So we'll loop it out, like how I just kind of spread this out a little bit here. We'll loop it out. I got it going for about what? My magic is 2 minutes. Would you say about 2 minutes? 1 minute, 2 minutes. And then we'll start there. And if we need to add more, we'll add more. But we start there. And we just loop what we got going on. We fill it with as many sounds as we can. This isn't as many sounds as we can. It's like, what is that, 5, 6? And then with these 4, it's like 10. So let's see what we got going on here. What's this?
like, again, we just loop it out, 2 minutes, all the sounds. Think of an intro, so maybe get rid of a lot of the weight, a lot of the heavy and the low end stuff. Start there. At the end, get rid of the heavy weight. Alternate between percussion on the way out. In the middle, you just say it. You say it all, you do it all, then you say it in a different way. Then we say something else that correlates, and then we say it again. And then sometimes we'll put a 16 in there. Or sometimes we'll put an 8 in there. Sometimes I'll do 4 hit the field. Sometimes exactly. Sometimes he get on there and like moan on the track or something. That's his thing. He moans on the track.
I do moan on the track.
This is correct. And so like, and then we put things in place. Cuts, chops, automation, a whole bunch of junk later. Well, it would take us quite some time because we got a process, but as far as laying it out and explaining, like that's initially how we get it done. And
I was just gonna ask, do you do like the automation live, like using like hard like a push or something like that to like change effects live and then record that, or do you just draw a lot of it?
Yeah, it varies. Yeah, like if it's there and I get to play, I like to play.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the toys, I'll play. Same with this guy, he'll just play. If you just pull something off the wall and be like, y'all play. We're just gonna do it.
Go ahead.
No, I feel.
I was about to say, having hardware too, like you can do that, like add the automation like on the fly, just live while you're recording it. So it adds that uniqueness to it.
Yeah, but I like to draw it out too. It gives me a little concise, clear and concise feeling right there. I like analog and stuff like that, and I want to get into it more. So I feel like the music that's going to come from that, it's going to be very fun. But for those who are like already in that, and take from that, whatever that is that we just painted, and walk with that and just play with that, and then draw some stuff in, paint you a little doodle vibe. Yeah.
What got y'all messing with Ableton? I usually use FL. That's what I think of.
I just like switch from FL to Ableton like just recently.
Well, maybe I'm saying for me right now it's just shit like science for real, honestly.
Yeah, but me working with a lot of DAWs because I started with Logic.
Okay.
And so I started with Logic, went to Machine, at the Machine, went to FL, at the FL, went to Ableton. Like essentially it's all the same.
It's all the same. It just look different. I think that's why I ain't mess with it because it just.
This one here is it's just a numbers game on this one.
For sure.
They put the colors there so we can have fun.
Yeah.
But the numbers game, but once you understand whatever those numbers is talking about, because if you know it from FL, you know it here. And I started with FL, and then my computer crashed, so I lost everything I did for 5 years prior to that. And so it was kind of wild for me. But then like my OG, Motor City Mello, he's a great guy, a great producer and a legend. And he just kind of put me in place and said, here you go, man, here's Ableton. It was Ableton 10. And I got hip and I got to playing. Ever since then for like 7 years, playing with that. And I know you've been using Ableton for how long?
Probably like 2-3 years. Yeah. And I mainly I started out using it to just recording equipment into Ableton, like just using the DAW. But I say Ableton is really some don't judge a book by its cover type shit. Cause I've used Logic, I've used FL, Machine, all of those. I did not really like it. And then I got hip to FL. Somebody had taught me a couple keys to use on there. And then after that, it just made sense.
That's really what it is. The high keys.
Yeah, the high keys. You be working like a wizard. Yeah. Learning for real.
High keys are my favorite high keys on Ableton. They got some of the best. I'm just saying, some of the best stock plugins in the game. Their stock plugins are kind of crazy. In this one, they got this plugin called Roar. I can't get into too much of that because it's a big old game. Yeah, it's a literal PlayStation 5. You just go in there and play. And then also their Max for Live. Max for Live? They got the Max for Live get up in there, and you can share sounds and things that people do. Like I said, rewriting somebody else's script. They got all that, man.
You could even DJ in Ableton and shit.
But that's pretty much our get up, and then.
for our projects, our bodies of work, we put all these statements together and we just string a story through it. And it just so happens to be like real. You feel me? I don't know if any of y'all are hip to like our music already yet.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, everybody, hey. So like yeah, so it's fun, man. Telling stories is fun, and telling the story, you know, damn. Granny left her panties on the floor. Damn. Like wild stuff. Dog ate the peanut butter. Like this wild stuff.
It's silly for real.
You can say it, man. It's a song. I'm gonna say it too. I'm about to say this word. It's a song. Let me get you right. Right all night.
That's one of them songs. That's what I'm trying.
So it's this dude. I forgot who made the song. I don't know who he is. If y'all know who this is, tell me, please. He's like, the beat is so rough and rugged. It's like, no. He's like, this ain't electronic. He's like, this is nigga music.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a nigga. Dude. I'm not a robot. I'm a nigga. Like, it's just, but this is, it was whatever he had to say and made that. Somebody told me, you know, Cyborg from Teen Titans. He said that's his theme song.
And that's real. Yeah, that's real.
That's real. It's pretty bossy, but again, you know, fun times, fun life. Hope y'all have fun.
Go ahead.
Bro, I had went to a show randomly. My old head had took me to it. It's this dude I just found in my Spotify. His name Noah Dr. Bob. I gotta get
Noah Dr. Bob.
Nobody knew about this, and this is cool. I'm letting y'all know. It's crazy.
I don't even
He
know.
probably like a big, but like he got a song called "Big Booty Fried Chicken and Hot Sauce."
What is that?
No, it's crazy though. But I feel like what y'all be doing, y'all could collect. That would be crazy.
Oh, he's current right now here.
He's here. He's here in Detroit. Big Booty Fried Chicken and Hot Sauce.
And hot sauce.
This is wild.
And then
this is his. Is this an album? Awesome. Thank you. Come on. Oh shit. Yeah.
Let me see the cover.
From the city, though.
I'm rocking with Noah.
We rocking.
We need to get Noah on the track.
Look at old school. Like, yeah. Old school.
Nah, that's old school for real.
Hey, but I ain't gonna lie, y'all. We've been kicking it fair with y'all. Like, it's real cool, and y'all like got to kick it with us, and we like talking that stuff. And y'all had fun, hopefully. But y'all got any more questions?
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Oh,
guys. What's up? I was just gonna say, like, when you guys produce for HiTech, is it always the three of you in the same room, or will it be sometimes like you might come in with an idea?
It's like more of that. It's more of that. But for the first stuff, like you saying, for the first tape, right? Like for our first
No, just in general. Just in general, but like,
for the first stuff, it was a lot of us all just in the room, right? Us in the room, and then like the second stuff was like, oh yeah, let's play around. We were trying to get used to like doing another thing that we were doing. We were trying to figure it out.
So trying to figure out the chemistry.
Yeah, we were trying to feel it, and then it fell right into it. It was, and then like these days, it's like however it play, man. We in the room, we passing the track. It's like that.
Do you think traveling impacts your like workflow and process? Yeah.
No, in the best way. We be on the plane like going crazy.
the airport.
Yes.
Yeah.
The airport. What was the hotel? We had made one at the hotel called Pole. It's such a wild song. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
All right, we can play all that. Let's play all that. We got to play all that.
We got a little something.
Oh, we can play all that.
Oh, no, we got to check for wires real quick.
Oh, we got one right here. No, but in real time.
And then how do you feel about like collaborating with other producers, like as like HiTech, like other producers? Like, have you?
We give them the floor. Let them set the tone. Working with other producers, we like to kind of like just be like, okay, how would you go about this? Like, what do you think that we would like, or what would you like, or what do you think that we don't like? And then you just open that door up and that little Pandora's box and just let us get in there and figure something out. So people start playing keys, and some people just get in there and like, I literally had somebody spit on the mic. It was kind of wild.
Yeah, Burp.
And Burp and Spit, and that's the name of the track. It's called Burp and Spit.
Yeah.
And like quite literally, and it's kind of grody. It's a good track though. It's a good track. But yeah, that's the vibes on that. Yeah, collabs. I don't know. We always like wide open to collabs because it gives us a chance to kind of bring people into the world. Not everybody peeps whatever it is because it's simple enough, yeah. But it's really just that one thing, that freedom of saying what you're trying to say, and then just integrating a bunch of nonsense, and then it all just comes out kind of beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's about freeing. Just like when we in them clubs and in parties and people like to stand up on the wall and be hoss and act like that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody dancing in the middle or 4 people dancing in the front, but everybody around them is standing there like this. It's like, dog, what's happening? So, you know, get something to kind of move their muscles. That magic BPM, that 155. Yeah.
What was it like bringing your sound overseas?
It was interesting.
Very welcome as well.
Well received for sure.
Yeah, it was different because before we got on, like a lot of those stages, there were people with these rule books in their mind. And they came with all these rules, and they were like, we want to let y'all know that you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't say this. You gotta let the lady stand in the front and the fella stand in the back. That's verbatim. And the fella stand in the back, and you can't interrupt anybody's piece. And we were like, okay, bet, I heard, and don't interrupt anybody's piece. I can do that. All that other stuff is crazy. So we jump directly in the middle, and we try to show how fun it is to just relax.
This was at Tresor too.
Yeah. And from that point on, it's like people started understanding that it's okay. And then we want to start there, or we can start with the music. You feel me? But it's really just the statement.
Did you think, like, creating that music here, you were gonna take it out, or like take it overseas, or were you thinking, like, we're just doing our thing here?
No, bro, because it's Detroit. Like, we've been doing this here. This is a sound from here, so we thinking that everybody around here is just like, it when you hear it. You know, just in Detroit, for the folks who are from Detroit, when you hear it, you know. And then and if you don't do it all the way they heard it, people gonna tell you, man, you might want to get those certain drums like going like this, like that classic stuff, like play it like a song would play it, or do it like Rashad would do it, do some stuff like that. And then like just everybody, Godfather did this like this, you might want to do it like this, and then you take what they told you and you contort it. Yeah. So that's we being bad. But
what do you mean you can DJ in a?
Oh, you can.
Like you could pretty much like you mind pulling it back up right quick?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's here. That's here.
No, I'm not too like hip to DJing. Like I've done it like here and there, like a couple years back. But I know that like if you
DJing on everything,
if you change the view to this, you can like load up tracks. Like you can load up songs like pretty much right here on this whole thing, and then like time it to where like you can
do blends.
Yeah, do blends and stuff. So you would have one track right here and then a track right here, and then like down here you would like blend it and fade it and stuff like that. Yeah. or you could like add audio effects in there and like freak it and do different stuff like that.
You could add your own VSTs on that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you could really. Come on.
You can also run stems live too. I do live sets in Ableton. And you can have like full audio clips. You can have stems, and then you can like also like load up drum tracks and play them live. You can do a lot of shit. Yeah.
Let's go.
Y'all almost got.
Are you familiar with the?
I'm taking going.
Oh yeah, I have a push. I have the second one.
You gotta push it.
You know what it was.
It comes so much, especially when you're just laying stuff out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, I can start using shit.
I don't really got a question, but let me just let that rock for me one more time. The joint you just made.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
We ain't even playing on that other joint. See, we ain't even playing on that other joint.
We can get to that right after the cameras go off, baby.
And this was something you already had pre-planned coming here, or was this just all?
We had the sample, and then we had some other stuff we was playing with down here. These little sounds down here, like 4 sounds. But the stuff we whipped, we right there. We just whipped right here. And then let me just go ahead. I'm gonna do a quick arrangement thing. I like to fly through my arrangement.
Because if you from here, you grew up on this.
You know that.
You grew up on it. Especially early 2000s all the way.
Yeah, bro.
Wax Tax
on the
radio. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of ingrained in you at a certain point from early on. So hearing this is kind of like, it's refreshing.
Really just going off of
ghetto techniques. You still like, that's right.
It's a good feeling, man. That tech come on?
Yeah.
You already know what's going on. In the car, anywhere. Stop the car.
Yeah. Or you blowing your horn, you flicking your light.
Right.
Turn your lights on the video.
I'm just over here clicking on stuff. Y'all like that? Y'all like when I just be clicking on shit? Yeah.
Little sound.
What's up?
So when you make a track, do you ever have consideration of how the track, like, people utilize it? Like, for example, like, people make, like, tools and stuff like that for DJing specifically.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, people just make, like, battle tracks, like, in Jersey and shit like that. So, like, people just battle to it. It's not like people just, you know, I mean, you can listen to it in the car and shit, but, like, it's for just dancing. Like, do you guys consider that?
Yeah, we definitely do. Like, but maybe not for dancing and stuff like that. Like I guess, like, we don't, like, we got a song called Pole, but I don't know, and it was like girl coming down that pole, but it's not for like the strip club. You feel me? And then we got a song called Break My Heart, but it's so upbeat. It's like, you couldn't break anybody's heart to that song. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely probably gonna get some butt up off that song. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's vibes. Hey, Pat. That's Pat right there. That's Pat. And, yeah, but those are the vibes. And I guess we got intentions, but it's like we always gotta be contrarians. It's kind of weird. We don't want to be that way.
And that's how you stand out too. That's how you're unique.
Yeah. It's like, I digress.
Also, like, at the end of the day, like, DJ
DJs, if they're good enough, they can play any type of track. So it's just like kind of make what you feel like they can get the moment to.
What's up?
How do you know when the track is done? How do you know when to be like?
You never know.
Yeah.
That's up to you. Nah, but we sometimes we just wake up and be like, it's literally, we got some tracks that we released that like we didn't mix the vocals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just put them on there. I messed with the EQ a little bit just cause, and then we just put it there, put it through a master and let them figure it out. But we ain't doing none of all that. We just like, this is great.
Just keeping it raw.
Yeah. Oh,
shit,
right.
we'll have a beat and then come back to it and add some bump shit like months later. Like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying?
You never know, but
there is no template. It's like you can have a whole song full of hooks if you want to.
Yeah.
Hooks. It's like straight hooks.
Or ad-libs.
Or ad-libs. It really just depends on how you feel and how you put in like your interpretation.
Yeah.
Y'all know that song Dum Dada? Dum Dada, Dum Dada, Dum Dada. Okay. It's literally just scatting. They're just scatting. And you can't tell when that shit's finished. That shit's gotta keep going. It's just yes, it's complete freedom.
It's like jazz.
It is jazz. I like that. New jazz. New jazz.
New jazz.
New jazz. And
new swing.
In comes the inside jokes.
15.
We got 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, we got 15 minutes. Alright, so look, this is what we gonna do. How about this? I'm about to hit a little arrangement. Man, I wish I had a mic on here. I'm about to hit a little arrangement tip. You mind if I swap with you? Come on, man. Oh yeah, we about to
get to it.
Cause see, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find some stuff that was being said right here in little vocal effects, and then we're just gonna use some of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we can just play around right here.
Hold on, that's it.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's Bart. That's Bart.
No, yeah.
Nah. We're gonna find it. And then sing it. Come on, little baby. What we talking? Slam. That. Hear that? Like that. I got one now. Cut.
It's hot.
It's higher. You're crazy in the morning. I'm walking over here. I sure do. I'm literally just cutting stuff. I'm literally in here just cutting. I don't know what I'm gonna do next until I feel it. Reversing stuff, cutting it, moving it around, and then if I can just get a delay cracking in there, that's what I'm gonna do. Forget about it. Get in here, throw a delay on. Throw it right here. Right? Yeah.
ping pong a lot. Just put that there because and if we have the time, we can move on already. I'm sorry, I got lost in the sauce. Oh, y'all. So, okay, y'all. That wraps up for that.
Shit.
Yeah. And this is our interpretation.
That's that cookout. That's that cookout just started.
After this, we all gonna go downstairs.
See that barbecue.
All right, y'all. So I'm wrapping on that. And now, did y'all have any more questions outside of that? I'm sorry.
That's an interesting background.
Oh, y'all, Harry Walker. That's Harry Walker. That's nothing. That's just That's great. That is just great.
Did we get to hear the whole song?
Oh, yes. That's exactly what I want.
Get off.
On a high note.
Make sure these cameras is off.
No, but this is the vibe.